Hello, I'm back. So I've been trying to catch up. I feel like I haven't written stuff in so long. I was experiencing all these new movies coming out, and I've only seen some of them uh, so far that I want to see. I still need to go see Spider-Man, but I did want to talk about. I have a lot of writing here. Hold on, like you're on the phone with me or something. Um, I was thinking about certain actors in movies right now, and I was like, how are they in all these movies at the same time that are coming out like back to back? And I had to look it up and have it explained to me. So I will read what I wrote and then what I found out. Um, let's see, where are we? Ah, emails. Let's see. I we went and saw the Odyssey. And what I didn't realize was that Tom Holland and Zendaya were in that as well. So I was like, how is this possible? How do they do this? Like, is Tom Holland getting out of his Spider-Man tights and putting on his Odyssey outfit, running to over to the next set? Like, how does this work? And what I found out was, and I was thinking, since AI is here, like, are they making these actors and actresses work that much harder? How do they remember all these words, all these scripts, what they're saying in what movie, and all this stuff? And I was just fascinated. And so, I found out that some of these movies take years to come up with the finished product, editing and overlaying and blah, blah, blah. So I wanted to find the description of what they said, but I guess I'll start at the beginning, which it was mostly about Anne Hathaway. I was like, dang, she's been in like Mother Mary, The End of Oak Street, which I want to see both of those. I haven't seen those. I've seen the Odyssey. That's it, I think, so far. Oh no, Devil Wears Prada 2, the Odyssey, and then she's going to be in Verity, which is already, it's coming out soon. But it felt like it was filmed all at once. And I was like, how is she doing this? So I was like, why does it feel like Anne Hathaway is everywhere all of a sudden? And I don't feel like I've seen her in, not that she hasn't been around lately, but all of a sudden, all these movies are, I don't know why my eyes are so big. Um, so anyway, what did I write? What did I write? I don't want to bore you. So I wrote, it feels like the same. I already told you all this. Anne Hathaway, Tom Holland, Zendaya, Matt Damon. I feel like he hasn't been in everything all at once, but he's been very consistent over the years on being in stuff. And he's one of those people you see in a lot of things. And I love him. And he's so endearing in a lot of his things. So anyway, I just didn't understand. What I thought it was AI or better editing, and or some kind of Hollywood magic. I don't know. But let's see. Hollywood's timing. A movie can spend years being developed, which I guess I didn't think about that. I thought it took like a year to do front to back. Um, so like months of filming, and then I guess it takes almost a year or so, maybe longer, to be developed, like to get the story perfect. Then months of filming, so that I guess is the shortest time, and then another year or more editing and visual effects, scoring, and marketing. So an actor might finish one movie, start another, and then another, and before we've seen the first one, they're all out. So boom, it's like these it just it's crazy how so they have 2 or 3 months of filming for the Odyssey, and then Anne Hathaway's running over, has a month off or so, and then runs over to do the Verity stuff for a couple months. And before that was the other movies that she was in, and so it just seems like she's doing it all at once, back to back, or at the same time. So I was like, how does that work? So then I wrote the Anne Hathaway effect because she seems to be the most. She's in the most right now, I think. Um, and she was pregnant at some point during this, so I'm like, was she pregnant during any of these things? But I don't think so. I think she had finished all her filming, or at least before she was showing, so they didn't have to do any editing that out, I don't think, from what I'm reading. But I guess we've seen her in this year, or are about to see her in Mother Mary, The Devil Wears Prada 2, The Odyssey, The End of Oak Street, and Verity. Has The End of Oak Street come out yet? I think it's coming out soon if it hasn't yet, before Verity. So that I'm totally going to see. They're all arriving in the same year, and she's expecting her third child, which I think was due in June, so she's probably had the baby. And it just seems like so much. And it's not just her. I already said all this. Tom Holland has the Spider-Man and the Odyssey, which I didn't even realize he was in the Odyssey. It was so nice to see him, along with so many other actors and actresses that are in it. Zendaya, especially, is also in the Odyssey and Spider-Man. So I'm like, oh my God. And she's in Dune. That was getting me like, oh my God, how are they doing all this? So I thought Hollywood was making movies faster, but no, that's not the case. We're just seeing several years of movie making finally in their complete work, I guess. So that's really how it is. But that's what got me thinking, and especially the Anne Hathaway thing, and bringing me to the differences in characters that she's in, I think, because again, I've only seen two of them, but the difference between those two characters are crazy. So I guess, and this is what happens with people, I think, too, is that you go in thinking Andy Sachs and you're getting Penelope, who is really nothing like Andy Sachs as far as I could tell. You know how I like to compare and contrast. So, and I had a completely different emotional reactions to the characters. At first, I thought it was Anne Hathaway, and I'm like, why did they use her for Penelope? But then I'm like, wait a minute, hold on, getting myself too emotionally involved. Back it up a little bit, and let's look at it. So, Andy Sachs. Andy is someone that I naturally root for. She's ambitious, kind, trying to figure life out. She grows without losing herself, and it feels relatable. And then Penelope, and this is where I had trouble. At first, I was not really loving the character, and I couldn't figure out if it was the acting, which I hate to say because it's so hard to do, right? But I think it was the resentment. I don't want to give it away if you haven't seen it. I think she's just resentful in the role, and but also faithful, if that makes sense. Again, you have to see the movie, but so it actually, I think I just, her character was so complicated, and there were a lot of layers that she was dealing with as the character. I guess is a better way to put it. As independent as she was also obligated to be in the position she was in. Um, and it just made me feel uncomfortable. Also, I will point out that I was in the third row, and I normally sit in the back, and this movie was overly loud and had lots of battle scenes, so I was very overstimulated, um and up way later than I normally am. So I need to see it again, I think, from the back row. So I want to go see it again, and I want to pay more attention. But at the end is when I saw what was brewing in her character. At the end, I saw it. I saw all the emotional um, closure that needed to be seen, and so that kind of gave me a different outlook on her character in that one. But it was she had a challenging character to play in that role. um I wasn't expecting it, and sometimes that's what the character is supposed to do, right? But it took me a minute to get there with that one. um I cannot wait to see Verity, because that is quite a layered character that she's going to be in that. Um, and I know in the book you really don't like the character, and then towards the end you're like, oh shit, that's what happened. Maybe I do like that character. Maybe she's a victim. I don't want to give too much away of that too. So, but I can't wait to go see that. And then the end of Oak Street has like dinosaurs in it. It's like a totally other. I think she's a mom in that one. Um, well, I guess she was a mom in the Odyssey too, but a mom of younger kids. And then what was the other one? Mother Mary. I guess I need to go watch that too. Um, but I am curious to see. I wrote here. Sorry, I'm looking, trying to improv these what I wrote here. Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see this more psychologically complicated character in Verity. I think the end of Oak Street is going to be more action based, and the Verity is going to be more psychological. I don't know about Mother Mary. I don't know what that's about. So, all that to say, the older I get, the less interested I am in whether I like every character. Much more interested in whether how the character makes me think and what I think is going on with them. If that makes you, I don't know if that makes sense. Um, so I like a character like that. Like at first I don't, that makes me feel uncomfortable, but then I go back and I think about it and why did they make me feel uncomfortable? um I like when a character makes me question things and kind of brew about it for a while. And her character did that for me in Odyssey more than some of the other characters. And then I do like when characters stay with me, or sometimes the whole show or movie will stay with me for a while, and I don't want to let it go, and I hope I dream about it. And did you ever get like that? I have. um and so that's the fun about acting. And as much as I love books, I love movies. I think that's why I'm drawn to audiobooks so much, is because it gives you that, you still get to imagine. I'm closing my eyes. You get to imagine what the characters look like, but you have that sound and the emotion in there as you're listening to the story. So it's almost like the movie, but not quite. But and I love when a character or an actor isn't typecast. I love when they are able to pull out different character bases and how they figure out how to do that particular personality. And some characters are more difficult to do that with, I think. And so this Verity is going to be very tricky. I can't wait to hear. I haven't heard, I don't think they've gone through any of that yet with interviews. I mean, I'm sure they've interviewed her, but we haven't seen. I'm going to go look. I'm going to go look because I want to see. I want to hear what she says about that. I would love to ask her which character was the most difficult out of all these to play. Which one was the furthest from her personality, that she really had to dig deep to play that character. So I'd love to hear about that. So, all in all, Anne Hathaway plus the other actors who have done multi films this year, they're not everywhere because Hollywood suddenly figured out how to make 5 movies in a year. They're everywhere because we're finally seeing several years of work arrive all at once. And somewhere in between, Andy Sachs, Penelope, and the anticipation of Verity, I stopped watching Anne Hathaway and the other characters and actors, and I started believing every one of them was a completely different person because they are in that particular role. So it's pretty cool to step back, or especially when you see 2 movies close together that have the actors in both movies, and it sometimes takes you a minute to adjust seeing their face and getting into their character with them. It's pretty cool. Anyway, has there ever been, here's a question for you, an actor or an actress who made you love one character, question another, and feel completely different about a third? So think about that. Maybe Anne Hathaway, maybe Tom Holland, maybe Zendaya. Did those characters make you feel differently about them, or were you able to adapt? Um, I know it took me a minute to really get my footing for those 2 different roles between Andy Sachs and um, Penelope. So we will see. I have more time in between because I had just watched The Devil Wears Prada 2, and then like the next day we went and saw The Odyssey. So those are 2 totally different characters. Penelope being more complex, I think, emotionally. So, yeah, to be continued with Verity and the end of Oak. Maybe I'll do one on those 2 and see what those 2 characters, if you're interested. I don't know. Anyway, leave a comment. Thank you for watching and listening, and I hope this babbling made sense to you. And if you have any other movies, shows, or books you want me to read or watch, let me know, and I will, because I'm always looking for more consumption. Anyway, see you later. Good to see ya. Just kidding. Anyway, bye.